Razvax here. Here's my review of the Dbal I2, or I2 I guess. This specific model is the 9007. I'll divide this review up into 3 sections: the overview, observations, and opinion. The Dbal I2 sports a IR laser and an IR illuminator. Different variants of the I2 have a VIII laser and an IR laser instead. None of them will have all 3, that is the laser, IR laser, and the illuminator. You need something like the Dbal A3 to have all 3 options. Between all models that are sold to civilians, the IR laser is always 0.7 milliwatts, and the VIII and illuminator is 5 milliwatts. The price for the I2 comes in anywhere from $800 to $900 depending on the vendor. This unit requires a tool to zero the laser, however the illuminator can be adjusted by hand, but it's quite stiff compared to the other models. Focusing of the illuminator is done via rotating the front of the lens, much like a camera. This specific unit has a leaf sight attached. These are not standard. A CR123 battery goes into the front and is easily removed. However, if you run a fixed front sight in front of this, you need to remove either the laser or the iron sight. A single knob on the back is how you choose your desired setting. Make sure to remove the blue screw to access the higher settings, or in this case, standard power settings. To fire the laser, simply press the button on top, or use the included tape switch while having the desired setting selected. Press and release for momentary, or quick double taps for toggle. A small light will illuminate the rear, letting you know it's currently on. The mount is a arms lever, allowing for a quick on-off. The unit sports a crisp laser and offers a very fine aiming point compared to the L3 APL or the Holosun, which I found had a slightly bloomier or higher divergent laser. The lens cap kind of sucks compared to the more expensive A2 and A3 Dbals. These ones have come off repeatedly, that is, all the way off of the unit, and fall off of the lens multiple times. This isn't really an issue for something like a scope, but for a laser, where an invisible laser can potentially cause eye damage, not having your diffusers walk off is generally a plus. Durability-wise, this thing has been quite stout. You can feel it's kind of jam-packed and feels very solid. This one has been in the snow, dust, and rain for about 3 years, and 2,700 rounds of 5.56, 500 rounds of 9mm, and some 22 LR. No problems so far, still trucking. Alright, here comes some opinion, so buckle up and make sure you remember this is just my experience and my opinion based off of what I've seen while using this device. You may agree or you may disagree. That's fine. Just use it as a data point of 1 and truck on. This laser is kind of underwhelming. I got this as my first laser back in the day. I recommend you watch my laser comparison video afterwards, up here on the right, but I'll roll in some of that footage as it's very useful to understand the dynamic of how this laser performs compared to other lasers. In a vacuum, it's great. It works, it's durable, and does what's advertised on the tin. I wanted an IR laser and illuminator, and I got it. But this is the real world, and you generally have to compare it to the competition. First off, I didn't think I needed a VIII laser, but the reality is they're incredibly convenient. The ability to confirm that you're still zeroed, or 2-0 in the daytime, is a huge time saver, especially at night where shooting at paper requires you to basically walk right up to the target to see your hits. This makes the A3, which costs about $1,300 but can be often found used for $1,000 or less, a lot more attractive, sporting a VIII laser but also having toolless adjustments. For a laser, that means you can adjust your laser on the fly if you find it's off ever so slightly, which happens far more often than you'd imagine. You also have a VIII laser override. That is $500 more, and is a fair bit. However, the i2 doesn't actually function very well as a budget option. For $300 less, you can get the Holosun with the IR laser and IR illuminator, or IR laser and vis laser. That is also 2 out of the 3. And if you want all 3, you can get the Hall Sun, which costs about $770, so slightly less, which is a significantly better value proposition. It's also worth mentioning that the I2 laser and illuminator is virtually identical compared to the Hall Sun laser in terms of clarity. That being said, there are still some reasons to pick a Dbal squared over something like a Hall Sun. The Hall Sun is really tall, and for some the height is a very big deal, especially if you mount at the 12 o'clock. I personally haven't had any issues yet, but Hall Sun still has some quality assurance stigma to get through. And while I found that Hall Sun devices, if they make it out of the box, generally hold up quite well. That being said, there's something to be said about buying a Dbal, which has some pedigree being used in many of the armed forces. If you plan on mounting the I2, zeroing, and then never ever taking it off, and performing the occasional zero check every time you shoot under nods, a lot of the need for a laser does diminish, and the I2 starts shining again. In short, if you want of a Dbal and are willing to pay just a little bit more, the Dbal A3 seems to be a better option, offering all 3 settings, Viz, IR, IR laser. The Hall Sun offers a better value proposition, either being significantly cheaper or offering all 3 instead of 2. The Purse also comes in at significantly lower prices, but currently is a major pain in the ass to get and has questionable warranty concerns, being from an overseas manufacturer while simultaneously being ITAR. Okay, that's it from me. Thanks for hanging around. If you like this content, be sure to subscribe and leave a like, and perhaps even a comment. It helps the channel a lot and keeps me motivated to keep doing these things, filming and using my ammo during these tough times. Anyway, have a nice evening, and I'll see you guys around.
Do the Garen thumb smile. Too close.